Yeah, I know you want to be in it. I'm just not sure that there's a spot for... Oh, hey. Welcome back to a tour of the Grove. Now, in tour number 1, we showed what you do before you get to the stage. Now let's take a look at what we do. Oh, actually, hang on a second. Look over here. We're in the field. Take a look at that piece of sky over there. We'll get to that in a second.
Now during rehearsals, we park in the lot like you do, but we want you to have those good spaces on show nights, so we park in the field and walk the path to this, the Pavilion. In a nutshell, set pieces, costumes, makeup all happen here. But this wasn't always here. If you exit audience right and walk through the woods to the top of the hill, there's Pennyroyal Farm. The farm is where Grove founders Margaret and Fletch lived. In the early days of the Grove, a room off the kitchen, known as the mud room, served as the makeup area for actors. The water source was a hand pump. Those pictures on the wall are actresses from various summers.
The mud room was a place where Fletch was able to set up a string of lights that were like lights you would find in a makeup room inside. And so that's where we did it. There wasn't any place up here that you could string lights like that.
Now, if your character had an elaborate costume, you'd likely wait until you got to the Grove to put that on. And how would you get there?
And then, yes, we'd either walk or drive. There would be 2 or 3 cars, and they could ferry people up. So that worked out. Or some people like to walk up. And but if you had crazy shoes on, you know, you didn't want to do that and carry your shoes with you.
Walk to the stage from the farm? Dang, they were hardy back then. In the late 60s, these fun twins appeared. Meet the Quonset huts. Purchased at a DuPont surplus sale, they were delivered for free by an Oak Grove season ticket holder. Both contained tools and paint, but they also became the Grove dressing rooms. The women's hut also had to share the changing space with the makeup area, separated by a curtain for modesty. The huts were roughly located where the Pavilion now stands. There were a few hazards. Acorns falling from the trees could sound like gunshots, scaring the heck out of everyone inside. We decided we tried that one out.
Yeah, that was loud.
And board member Linda Petsky notes it was always good to kick the hut before entering to give a heads up to the mouse, spider, or baby possum that might be inside. The huts smelled of Aquanet, and there are some memories of a magical Coke machine in the women's that required no quarter.
Is it in that one? Dang, it's not in this one either.
In the late 70s, the huts, still in use, were scooted towards the field to make room for the construction of the pavilion we have today. Designed by Doug Roller and built by Virginia Frame Builders, this happened in 2 phases. In 1979, this section was built. It provided much-needed storage space for things like reusable flats or walls used on the sets, plus a covered space to construct or quickly move set pieces to protect them from sudden storms. The large open area has space for rainy rehearsals and performances, cast parties, and double tech meals, and the counter provides extra space for makeup and costuming work. In 1992, the pavilion expanded to include a makeup counter, 2 dressing rooms, 2 restrooms, and even a shower. The plans also added a work sink and refrigerator closet to the middle section. So when you think of Grove origins and water you had to pump and privies and no lights, this is downright luxurious. These days you still get call times to arrive for hair and makeup, but there's running water and electricity for things like curling irons. So with these new digs, the Quonset huts, and yeah, they're technically not Quonset huts, but that's how every Grover knows them, moved up the hill to become additional storage space for lumber and set pieces.
While we're talking makeup and storage, there's a Grove legend about a vehicle that was off-stage left in the woods. Some say it was for storage, others say it was another men's dressing room, some say it was a milk truck, others say a van. I was always told it was a bus. It just depends on who you ask. But there's one thing we all can agree on: Fletchers Corner.
Remember that patch of sky? Fletcher used to prognosticate the weather by checking that one patch of sky. If it was clear, no matter the other conditions, you were good to go for the show that night. Even with online weather apps, Fletchers Corner is used to this day, and honestly, it's usually more accurate. So you've gotten into costume and makeup, maybe you've relaxed in a hammock, or you've paced endlessly running your lines, or you're sharing stories of last night's show.
And now it's time to take that last pre-show stroll, and that's what we simply call the path.
It's changed slightly over time. Years ago, it was longer and would take you further into the woods to also reach stage left. Initially, there were no rope lights to guide you, so you definitely had to hold the rope handrail that marked the way. Of course, some told me the lack of lights helped if nature called before you had to go on stage. Maybe there's a cow at the fence, wishing you break legs right before you round that last corner. For many, it's where pre-show nerves and excitement collide. But for all, it's just the path. And it takes us to where we meet you at the stage.